A very good evening to all the viewers. I'm Shivani Srivastav, Relationships Manager at Global Education and Training Institute. I welcome you all this evening to this GETI Live Talk, which will be with Ma'am Jyothi Anupam, who is the principal of Horizon Academy at Nasik. She has been the administrator, a principal, and a teacher for 28 years now. She has a very rich experience in the field of education. She has also been awarded the Best Science and Mathematics Teacher at SNDT University in 2006. We have Ma'am here with us, and she will be addressing us all and speaking on parenting and storytelling. So, here I once again welcome Ma'am, and over to you.
Thank you, Shivani. That was a generous introduction. And I would like to thank Sunita Gandhi and the Global Education and Training Institute for giving me this second chance to appear before you all. Actually, after such a long career, you want to give so much to the society, and this one platform has honored me. This has honored me for the second time to share my views with all my friends, teachers, and colleagues who are watching me right now. Uh, Today's two topics are very close to me, my heart and my. I have used these two tools very effectively when I was working as a teacher, as a principal, as an administration. And today's first topic is parenting. So parenting is it is, what is it? What is parenting? It's an art. It's a lifelong process. It's a part-time job, or what kind of process is it? We all are worried. Every parent with a newborn baby is worried. What am I going to do to make him a good human being? How am I going to help him or promote him? And helping him and promoting him is nothing but parenting. Parenting is the most important job you will ever have. It is also one of the most challenging job. Your job of parenting changes as your children grow and mature, requiring you to adjust to the needs and ages of your children. Now you see, what happens is, this is one of the definition that I have found, which is very close to what I feel about parenting is, we feel that my son has now become 5 years, he can take care of himself and I can be away from him a little. But no, every age, every step of child's life requires us as parents and our advice and guide to the child to grow up. And what we give as advice or guide or helping hand is nothing but parenting. Now, overall, I have seen that there are many tips and many type of parenting, yeah, but then four main type of parenting is authoritative parent, where the parent says like, I am the boss and that's it. So the children have to listen to whatever the father or the mother or the parent in the house say. Next is authoritarian parent, who says, I am the boss but I will give you a chance to discuss. And then next is permissive parent, who is like, goes according to what the child says, and changes his way of parenting. And the last type of parenting is he is not at all involved, he is neglected the parenting and enjoys with the child as and how the child wants to live. So these are the four type of parenting that has been roughly broadly calculated or thought of. But all these type of parents, all these four type of parenting should also have 10 10 tips of parenting, where they can actually help the children. Now one by one I will be going through these topics, and I'll elaborate it to you by giving some small examples which I have lived through when, as a parent, as a mother, as a teacher, and all that. So the first is to celebrate the positivity. Now, what is celebrate the positivity is like, it is simple word is motivating. Anytime your child has done any good thing in a day, it may be as simple as, folding his own clothes, or, putting the books according to the timetable in the bag, or helping you to serve dinner in the house. As simple as that. Just encourage the child by celebrating it. Tell what should I say, tell others, encourage him, talk about how well he has worked. What happens here is the child realizes that whenever he does some good work, he is awarded orally, or you can, you can give him as an example to his younger sister and brother, and that is the way the child feels motivated. So whatever good work he does, however small it may be, you should celebrate it. That will make him do all the good works, and he realizes with age that every time he does something good, it is celebrated. His parents celebrate, his teacher celebrates, his friends celebrate. Even a small thing like borrowing, exchanging books with someone or helping someone with something is going to be uh, celebrated. Next, we have to see that take time to talk and really listen. Now see, parents, most of us 90% of us are busy working. Both the parents work and we have very less time. Like suppose a mother works from 9 to 5, and from 5 to 10, that's only 5 hours that she gets with her child. In that, she has to teach him, she has to cook food, she has to take care of the house, she has to take care of the in-laws, take care of the husband. But give some time to the child every day, maybe bedtime, maybe when you're cooking in the kitchen, just make him sit on the platform. Like I used to do that. My son used to be sitting on the platform and telling me everything that has happened in the school. Sometimes the children are very low. We realize that my child is not normal today, but then we say ye kaam ho jaye, phir we'll talk to you. Wo kaam kar lo, phir we'll talk. And then we keep postponing it, and then we forget talking about it, which actually hurts the child. There is no way to vent out. He cannot express his feeling. He needs to talk to something. It may be as small issue as scoring low marks in dictation, or a real breakup for a teenager child. So you have to talk to the child every day and first listen to him. First listen to the whole story he says. You don't interrupt him by giving advices the moment he begins. आज मैंने कम marks लिए, तू तो पढ़ता नहीं. Don't start. Let him talk. Let him tell us that why he has scored and how he is feeling. So when we come to know their feelings, we can always teach them to manage their feelings. Unknowingly, here we are helping their emotional intelligence, and we are giving them advices. When you listen to them and give them proper advice, children will come back to you for everything. There are times nowadays when both the parents have no time to talk to the children, and the children become friendly to the outsiders. They have friends outside the house, and now once the child is talking to people outside the house, you really do not know whether the person is really helping your child or taking advantage of the situation that the child is. Sometimes when girls confide to outsiders, the news is full of such topics and such articles, that how these outsiders took advantage of the girl, and finally what happened. So always give time to the children, listen to them, and then you can help them out in whatever the way they need. Next is to teach responsibility constructively. Now see, there is a very many houses you go, no, whenever a child comes to help, we say, अरे बेटा तू तो बहुत छोटा है, अभी नहीं होगा, तुम जाओ मैं कर लेता हूँ. But no, उसको भी करने दो. Give him a chance, give him a work, give him the responsibility of completing the work, चाहे कितना भी छोटा हो, how much ever small it may be. Simple thing like arranging the vessels, arranging the clothes, organizing the cupboard, you start giving him, like, make him feel important. Once he carries out that responsibility successfully, he will slowly but surely start taking difficult responsibilities, bigger and bigger responsibilities in life. Otherwise, nowadays we have realized that children just run away from there. They're happy when there is fun and there is frolic, but when you ask who will go to the market and get such and such thing, the children disappear. The children do not want to do any kind of work. Why? Because they are not trained from the beginning to give small responsibilities, and this only parents can do. You have to give them responsibilities according to their age. Simple responsibility like folding your own bed sheet after you get up in the morning is also a work where you can slowly make him feel good. Go and tell him, अरे वाह, आपने अपना बिस्तर बहुत अच्छे से फोल्ड किया, आपने अपना तकिया अपने जगह पर रखा. Even this helps the child that yes, मैं तो ये काम कर सकता हूँ. वो feeling जो है ना, that yes, I can do this job, that is more important. It has to develop in a child's mind. Next, use discipline and not punishment. Now this is like, um, this is more like putting discipline in a child's life. Now why do we punish our children? Because of there's some habits which are not good. So before these habits are formed, you have to start telling them. See, the next point, and the use discipline and not punishment and separate the child from this, from the behavior, go hand in hand, is like, don't tell the child that he is good or bad, but you discipline his habits, discipline his methods of working. Simple as example is like when a child does not score good marks in a simple exam like dictation, you say, तुम तो बुद्धि नहीं है तुमको, तुम तो निठल्ले हो, निकम्मे हो. नो, डोंट टेल दैट. आप निठल्ले नहीं हो, आपको वो डिक्टेशन वर्ड्स थोड़े से डिफिकल्ट हुए, उसको हम कैसे पढ़ें? यू टीच हिम, उसको डिसिप्लिन करो, मेक हिम disciplined, that every day evening, whichever difficult words you don't know, you have to repeat it 10 times or write it systematically 10 times. And then you have to tell him that if you work like this, if you work hard like this, if you put in efforts like this, you will be disciplined, you will score good marks. Naki, when the child scores less marks in dictation, you give him two cuts in his hand and throw him out of the class and don't talk to him whole day. No, that is not. Punishment will only give a big blow to the child's self-esteem. So you should always keep the child away from his bad behavior and tell him that the marks are bad, but you are not bad, you are good, mummy is good, and both of us, we will get good marks. So that is how you have to help your child discipline in his life. Even simple things like organizing his books, organizing his cupboards, organizing thoughts while writing essays, all this can be taught to the child by disciplining it. Can we go to the next slide, Shivani? Yeah. Now, action speaks louder than words. Now, this is a universal saying where you have, see, all of us know that like all the children in our house, they watch us very carefully. Every action a mother does or every action a father does is absorbed by the child, is noticed by the child. And we all of us know that children pick up our actions. Now, simple example is first time when our mobile rings and your child picks up the mobile and you tell the child that uncle ko bol dena main ghar mein nahi hu. So you are teaching him to lie. So next time when the phone comes, whether you want to talk to the person or not, the child will, now he sees, the child sees that if I give this phone to my father, he is going to spend time talking on the phone and our outing will get cancelled. He will immediately tell that person, Papa ghar pe nahi. So this is how the children learn. They learn from our actions. We don't have to tell them ki aap jhoot bolo, but what you have done has already put a mark on the child's mind, and this is how you have to avoid a person. Another example I can give you is like kindness. When you show kindness to birds, animals, fellow human beings, and do charity from home, the children learn this. Otherwise the children will never see. Sometimes, many a times, we have seen now in this difficult times during COVID, we have helped each other. We have given our neighbor some food, we have given our maid extra money, we have given the all the vegetable vendors जो सब्जी वाला दरवाजे पे आते थे, उनको कभी हमने कपड़े दे दिए, कभी हमने खाना दे दिया. So this is all seen by your children. This will have a very strong impact on how he behaves with his friends during his school hours, during his life, during his adult life or teenage life. Whatever you do, if you talk to the child badly, use all the abusive language, he will do exactly same that kind of thing when he meets his friends. If you teach him something nice, if you teach him some good words, teach him that yes, like this you can help your friend, and if he sees you doing such things, he will also do this same thing. So action always speaks louder than word. Now use natural and logical consequences. Now see, I'll give you a very nice example. I have twin brothers at home. So when we were all young, they're just 2 years younger to me, 2.5 years. So when we used to study after coming back from school, we all used to sit down to study, and mummy used to teach us. Now, one of my brother was very naughty. He would maybe, those days we didn't know he was, maybe he is hyperactive kind of child. He is hyperactive kind of child, and he could never sit in one place. And whenever one of my brother did the, studied or wrote question answers and revised, the next one would say, I have finished it, I have finished it, I know everything, I'm not going to sit. So initially my mummy used to nag him, like, sit, 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 and then she would fire him and she would whack him, and sometimes the scene would become very ugly. So one fine day she decided that she's not going to call him only. We all, I and my other brother, we sat down, but this person didn't turn up, mummy didn't call him, he kept on playing, and so on and so forth. And one, in the whole week he did not study, and the next week we had exams. And but natural, one of the brother who sat to study scored high marks, and this one who never sat got the lowest marks in the class. Now that lowest mark had put such a big impact on him that from the next week my mother did not have to call him to sit and study. So the consequence, he came to know that if I don't study, the consequences is that I'm going to get less marks. So let the children face the consequences sometimes, because if we continuously keep telling them, no, आप पढ़ो, आप पढ़ते नहीं हो, आप ये नहीं करते हो, आप वो नहीं करते, तो बच्चे सुनते नहीं है. They don't like you telling them 100 times. So if they don't like you telling 100 times, then you have to tell them only 2 times, and then let them suffer whatever consequences it is going to show them. So next time my mother had not to tell the child, come and sit. He would be there before, like I and my other brother went and sat. Before that only his books were ready, his homework was ready, and his revision was ready. So when the small child, we have seen this scene that mummy keeps saying, beta udhar mat chado, aap gir jaoge, udhar mat chado, aap gir jaoge, but still the child goes to climb. Suppose the child climbs, I know it is a little painful that if the child falls, it might hurt him, but let him fall once. Let him fall once. He will never climb a place which is difficult for him again. So sometimes let the logical consequence take its own way. Now, same thing next is spend quality time with your child and leave the stress of work at work. Now, see, most of us carry our stress from work home. We are fired by our superiors. We go and fire our wives. Our wives go and fire the children. And this whole thing happens in a house. And then finally, the child is under stress. The child wants to share something very nice with you. Maybe today he has won a prize in elocution competition, he wants to show you the medal and the certificate, but then the stress has been passed on to the from father to mother to mother to child, and the child is at the last end where he cannot express his feelings, he cannot share his happiness with you. So whatever may be the stress, please leave it in your office and go home. Give that quality time. I already told you, if we are working from 9 to 5, we have just 5 hours before the bedtime. In fact, the children sleep at 9 o'clock, and from 5 to 9 it's just 4 hours. So whatever little time you get with your children, spend it quality, spend it wisely, spend it to understand the child properly, spend it asking each other, how was your day, what did you do, how was your what did you have for, if your child takes food in canteen, find out what was the scene at canteen, what kind of food you had, did anyone celebrate birthday, how did you. So this will actually tell you a lot about what is happening in your children's life. See, many a times you must have seen that nowadays when untold events happen and the parents go and ask the police goes and asks the parents ki aapka beta kahan gaya tha ya aapki beti kahan gayi thi. The parents don't even know ki kiske sath mera bacha gaya hai, with whom they have gone. If they have gone on bikes, who are the friends that they have gone on bike, if they have gone on picnic, which is the place they have gone on picnic, nothing the parents know, and it becomes very difficult. So it is a request for every parent to spend some quality time with them. Now, last one is give children input into decisions that affect them and hold family meetings. Like I told you, slowly but surely, you have to start increasing the responsibility on the child according to the age. Now, this decision making is also a responsibility that you have to slowly but surely give your child. To begin with, you can start asking him to organize his own birthday party, whether he wants a chocolate cake or he wants a milk cake or whatever that is, what kind of decoration he wants, and if he wants balloons, a lot of balloons, then which color balloons and why balloons, no, and why not to use. If suppose you're against balloons, tell him why not to use balloons. If you're against using plastic plates and spoons, tell him why. So he will start thinking both the sides before he takes a decision. let him do small things, like, again, logical consequences mein decision making I'll add is that, uh, a child, he throws tantrums for eating ice creams on the winter night, and you say no to him, but the child is so much into it that he has to have ice cream. Finally, with a lot of tension, you give the child ice cream, and next day he falls sick. And that is a very nice example to tell him, see what happened of the consequences, what happened to the ice cream eating, a consequence that you fell sick. And then here you can point that your decision about eating ice cream on the winter nights is not good. Next time you have to think. So this is how you have to show them the consequences, help them to build up their own decisions, and show them how it affects the family, how everyone, when you are in a family, the decision should be fit to everyone's liking. It should not be your own personal liking, and the decision is only for you, it is for the whole family. Okay, so decision making is also a big responsibility that you have to start teaching your children at a very small age, and with small decisions. Last point here is that, you have to be kind but still firm at the same time. Now you must have realized, many parents must have realized that, simple example again is when, a child does not want to drink milk, okay, or does not want to eat some green vegetable, some leafy vegetable, some green vegetable. What he does is, he tries to, you know show you all the things, that negative things that happen to him by eating that leafy vegetable or drinking that milk. Sometimes they show that they are throwing up, sometimes they show it is stuck in the neck, sometimes they, like, see, I don't like it, it tastes yuck, and so many things. Your children know what is your breaking point, so they will try pushing you till then. But you have to be very firm, you have to be very, like, keep yourself under control. Do not scold the child or use abusive language, but consistently be firm and kind about taking milk and leafy vegetable during the meals. Once the child knows that, whatever, in short, अगर हम बोलते हैं कोई भी नौटंकी नहीं चलने वाली है मम्मी के सामने, मुझे ये दूध और ये करेला खाना ही है, तो वो खाएगा। बट अगर आप बीच में छोड़ दोगे, या फिर, लाइक, समटाइम्स यू से, हाँ सी, लाइक, वन ऑफ द पेरेंट विल से, अरे मत खिलाओ, उसको उल्टी आती है, बस इमीडिएटली द चाइल्ड कम्स टू नो the parents have broken, and he will never develop the habit of eating green vegetables. But you have to be very firm, you have to be very kind, you have to, don't make a big issue where you will be unkind to the child, where you will use bad words or abusive words, or you become very aggressive and there is a big scene at the table about eating karela or green vegetables. So you have to drive the point home very kindly, firmly, and consistently. But now the best part is, before parenting or before even, molding your child, you should know that what kind of temperament your child belongs to. Now, what is temperament? Temperament is the innate quality in you, या जन्म से ही जो आप स्वभाव होता है हर इंसान का. These are the four temperaments, that is sanguine, choleric, phlegmatic, and melancholy. These are the four type of temperaments that a person or the whole, your child might belong to. So you should be knowing the strength and the weakness of the child. Accordingly you will be molding him. Like, see, for example, before I plant any seed, I should be knowing whether my soil where I'm planting the seed is able to help grow this seed. Similarly, before I start parenting my child, or before I start molding my child, before I start developing his habits and his mannerism and his way of life, I should know in which of these four temperaments does my child fit in. And accordingly, I will have to train him. Like, what are his strengths? What are his weakness? And what are his what happened? Okay. So the leadership quality was very well seen in wherever he played. We saw that he was the decision making and he would lead, even if it was a bad situation, like he fell down or someone fell down. He used to run to pick up the child and help the child first. So that leadership quality is very easily seen or very nicely seen in some children. And some children, we know that they are very good in acting, they are very good in speaking, they are very good in presenting, but they are not very good in leading. So that leadership quality is very important.
Well, I suppose there were some network issues. Ma'am is back with us. Let's just wait for a moment and see if ma'am is able to connect. I guess ma'am is trying hard to connect. Well, clearly ma'am has some network issues with her due to which she couldn't connect. But I assume that whatever she has told until now has great impact. Yes,
What
she,
happened?
ma'am is back again. So we'll
Yeah.
just resume. I was just here. Let's resume from where ma'am left. Ma'am, are you around? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, sure. Can we continue?
Sure, ma'am.
Okay. The last slide, I think the nine characters of temperament. Yeah, the next slide. Yeah. Now, how will you categorize your children into which temperament they are? You will be fitting them into, or the previous slide, Shivani. Just 2 minutes before we go to the storytelling. Yeah. So these are the 9 points I can. I have put it up for you on the PPT, last slide of the PPT, and one of them is the first one is activity level. What you have to check in your child is all the activities, whether he is fast, whether he is slow, whether he enjoys it or he does not enjoy it. No, and then according to the four temperaments, you can characterize the child into that, and then have your own style of parenting. Then the approach and withdrawal. Now, approach to new people, new places, new kind of situations, how he is, whether he is happy for the new, like, simple example is like when you go to a new class, the beginning of the year, you will see that some of the children coming from first standard are very happy. They are very happy, outgoing, they like to make new friends, they are very approachable, you can go and talk to them, they come and talk to you. But then you can see some of them are sulking, they are sitting in one corner, they do not want to talk to anyone, they do not want to share anything, they do not want to share their tiffin, books, nothing. I still remember I had a child in my class when she was promoted from second standard to third standard, and I was just beginning of my career with third standard class teacher, and this child did not want to come to my class for next 2-3 months, and I had to really work on her, and then she's even now touching with me. So these are the different kind of approaches and withdrawals the children show. Adaptability, as it says, how well and how quick the children adapt to the new situation, whether they take it positively or whether they take it negatively. Again, I will tell you, I remember a same one child called Payod who left my school. In fact, he was in my class and he joined another school, much bigger and a famous school in a other metropole city. But he kept on crying, and he was in seventh standard and he could not adjust till a long, long time. And then finally, like, the parents were thinking of coming back to Nasik, but slowly but surely he did adapt. So that is how, whether they quickly adapt or whether they take time, again matters. Now, intensity is again the energy level where you have to see how happily the child, takes part in all the activities he does, whether it is eating, sleeping, drinking, or his making friendship, whether the friends matter to him or they don't matter to him, or how intensely he is involved in all his activities. Now, moods, again, mood swings you can see in the class of 40. These all examples you can see in a class very nicely. Some child is very happy in the morning, some child is not at all interactive in the morning, but the same child you can see in the afternoon, he's jumping jack, he's everywhere in the class, he's happy. And sometimes the children simply sulk. It depends on what type of temperament and where this mood can be put into. Now, again, attention span. Now, you see, we all teachers teach the same topic to 40 students, but one or two, or at least 5 to 6, they give full attention to you, like they don't even battle their eyelids when you are talking. But then you can see, and in contrast to the same, you can see at the end of the class, another 10 I have never paid attention to you, they just do not pay attention to you. So their attention span also decides what kind of temperament you can put this child into. Now, this distractibility, now this is again, as a name senses, like I just give you my example. One of my brother used to continuously study for 8 hours with ghazal on. He used to have ghazals playing continuously, and he is a top scorer of his class. But when I used to sit to study, the moment the song started, I would start humming the song and I would get distracted. So again, distractibility also shows the temperament. Now, sensory threshold means what motivation or what stimulation does your child need to do certain work. Like, sometime only mummy saying to do this work, they do it. But some same child or the siblings in the same house, the younger one will say, फिर आप मुझे कितने चॉकलेट दोगे या मुझे घुमाने ले जाओगे या आइसक्रीम खिलाओगे तो मैं काम करूँ. So what is their stimulation? Same siblings, same parents, but the stimulation required to get the work done is separate for them. Then rhythm or regularity is, now you can see some children are very regular in all their eating habits, sleeping habits, food habits, washroom habits. They are very regular. I mean, you don't have to, you just have to teach them and they are. But there are some who will, today he has eaten at 9 o'clock, next day morning if you give him breakfast at 9 o'clock, he'll say no, I'm not hungry. He'll feel hungry after 2 hours. Then sometimes your child sleeps at 9 o'clock and sometimes he's awake whole night. So this is biological rhythm or regularity you have to again count when you put your children in, categorize them in that four kind of temperaments. So that with that I finish my parenting. We can move on to storytelling. Shivani, if you're there. Yes. Actually, Shivani has given me a very less time to finish my topics. I have so much to tell, but then I'll try and finish it another 15 minutes. Okay, Shivani, or it will be too long. Okay, so I start with storytelling. I went through a lot of definitions, but these two definitions are very much close. If you read it, you'll realize that this is very close to a teacher's life. I, being a core teacher at heart, I will just read these definitions. Storytelling is an interactive art of using words and actions to reveal the elements and images of a story while encouraging the listener's imagination. Storytelling is an ancient form of disseminating information or message in an entertaining way to evoke desired emotions and actions. Now, if you see, these are all the different kind of processes or the tools that we use in teaching in our class. I will always relate this for teaching because again I said I am a core teacher. So all this storytelling, parts of storytelling are a very strong tool of your lessons. You can use it in classroom teaching, and this is, now you can see the picture here, that the storyteller is making use of his hands, his face, his vocabulary, everything to impart knowledge. He is telling a story. See, story is nothing but a way of passing on whatever I know to you across the bench. It may be concept, it may be a lifestyle, it may be a situation, it may be a character sketch of a person, it may be emotion which I'm trying to evoke in you or trying to pass the emotion to you. So it is nothing but storytelling. Everything is involved in it, and all these processes are very important for a upbringing of child. Yes, Shivani, next slide. Can we move on to the next slide, Shivani? Yeah. What can storytelling offer? Now, see, we all human beings, we love stories, and especially the children. Every child is born with the innate quality of listening to stories, and they love stories. What is story? Story is nothing but passing on information. Creating a sense of magic, creating a feeling of relaxation. And if you see closely, story teaches us about life, about ourselves, and about others. Storytelling is a unique way for a child to develop an understanding, respect, and appreciation for others' cultures and promote positive attitude to people from different land, race, and religion. Now, I'll just give you a quick example. When I was a young teacher, I used to teach social studies in the class, and if the lesson connected to festival, religion, food habits, clothes, race, caste, I used to just get each child, like for example, if I wanted to describe to children the festival of Diwali, I would call Ram to come and tell how he celebrated Diwali. I would tell him, tell the story of your Diwali, how you would celebrate. And if I wanted to talk about Eid, I used to call Rahim. And if I wanted to talk about Christmas, I used to call Robert. So these are the ways through story, and my lesson would be done. Similarly, I used to talk about their clothes. I used to talk about their food habits. I used to talk about their weather. I used to talk about the geographical conditions and the kind of occupation. So all this can be taught or told through stories in a class. And storytelling is again a very, very strong tool for a teacher if she uses it very nicely. I'll just quickly give you an example. When I teach in the lower classes, I begin the lesson with a story. And as and when I, with age and with experience, as and when I started teaching the higher classes, I would finish my topic with a lesson. Topic with a story connected to the lesson. So, storytelling can be used or can be used to create interest not only in children but also in adults, also in all kind of people. Like children love stories, women like gossip, men like news. These are all forms of stories said in a different context. Okay, yes, Shivani, can we go ahead? Yeah. Now, storytelling and intercultural understanding. Now, see, I was always mm, telling, I used to always take my son to our village and our uh, like the old people of my family, because nowadays 99% of people do not stay in village but they stay in the cities. And who are we? From where do we come? What did our ancestors do? How was our lifestyle before we came to our city? All this cultural thing about your own self is found from the city, from the village you have come. So they should know your culture. Like suppose you are a South Indian, you are a Bengali, you are a Maharashtrian, you are a North Indian, you are a Kashmiri, you are an Assami. You should know what you are. You should know your culture, you should know your deity, you should know your festivals, you should know your food habits, you should know what your ancestors were doing. Again, a small example is like when my dad took us back to village, we went to our ancestral house, and when as small children we used to go and explore every room in that house. And suddenly one day when three of us entered a room, we saw we saw a statue kind of thing wearing all the old what should I say, clothes that were wore during the war times by the soldiers of the kings. And they had armors, they had shields, they had talwar. And we were surprised, we went running out and we asked our father, what is that? And then to our surprise, to our excitement, to our imagination, and to, we were told that our ancestors, maybe about 200 years or 400 years ago, were a part of Tipu Sultan's army, and these were the ammunitions or the the all the uh, what is that? Should I say all the devices for used in the army during the warfare? And we were so surprised. I mean, we were so happy, and you can imagine a small child of fifth standards imagination running wild, and his feelings, and then how much he understood about the Tipu Sultan's history and the culture. So this is how the story impacts on a child. Then it allows us to experience diverse culture. Like I told you before, like if friends are from all different community of or all different states of India, we respect, we learn about their culture when we talk to them, when we listen to them, when we experience their stories. And this all can be very nicely. See, now I'll tell you, I can never go to some, I have never visited some of the states in India as such, but I can talk volumes about it. Why? Because I have read it through stories. I have seen the culture, I have seen pictures on that. Pictures are nothing but stories again, and there are movies on that state. So I can understand, I have learned a lot by these stories. Now stories enable children to empathize with unfamiliar people, places, and situations. Now for this I can give just one example, that is the movie of Titanic, where people are not from our country, places are also not from our country, and the situation is completely different. You can realize that we after seeing that movie, we have learned about what happened in 1912, when none of us were born, and still we know the details about the people and what kind of people were on the boat or on that ship, which places it traveled, where it hit with the iceberg, how it damaged the Titanic ship, and what kind of situation each character in that movie went through. Don't we learn from all this? Like, situation, if you tell a story about a situation, I would like to give a small example, is that when the thirsty crow, like, when we tell children the thirsty crow, if you see at it in this in a different angle, the angle of problem solving, the crow was thirsty and that was his problem, and how he solved his thirst or how he quenched his thirst is a situation which will help the child to develop a problem solving attitude when he listens to different stories. Okay, again, insight into different values and traditions comes same. Now this next point helps children to understand how wisdom, not only wisdom, but hard work, honesty, sincerity, kindness, all this is common to people all over in all cultures. Now just again one example, like the stories of Birbal from north, stories of Tenali Ram from south, and stories of Gopal Bhatt from Bengal region, they all tell you or teach you about wisdom, about honesty, about hard work, about the different values, that every value is all these values are respected all over the country. Not only all over the country, if the children read stories from the other country, you there also they will realize that wisdom, hard work, sincerity, friendship, honesty, patriotisms are a respectable values, and it is quite a very strong character the children will develop if they read these stories. Then insight into universal life experiences, like through stories we can tell children about how the earth was formed, how the first life came into being, how multicellular and single cellular animals were formed, how from ape man was formed, how the wheel was discovered, how the fire was discovered. So the stories of universe can only be told to children through stories. And when you make it in a very, in a very lot of adjective with actions, the children will remember for life. Again, small example I can give here is the what should I say, discovery or invention of sari. I'm not a, history student. I'm a thorough science maths student, but I don't remember much of Chandragupta Maurya or Alexander, but I remember one story connected to that era, which my teacher told me when I was in 8th standard, like how Chandragupta Maurya's wife, Helen, who was Alexander's daughter, was how she discovered or how she invented the current sari, 6 yard sari that we wear. She used to wear those Greek flowing robes, and Indian women wore that three clothings that they wore, which we usually see in Amar Chitra Katha. She fused them together to invent or discover or to give us this current sari. I have forgotten the history of Chandragupta Maurya, but I remember Helen and her discovery and her gift to mankind, women in India, is a beautiful sari that we wear. Okay, so these are kind of these are the what should I say, these are the best thing that a story can do to a child. Then help consider new ideas. Like I told you, when you read a lot, when lots of stories is told, children get lot of their own idea, they mix and match the idea and they become more creative, they become more imaginative, and creativity is the most important value that is looked upon today. Then reveals different commonalities and cultures of India. Again, same. Can we go on to the next slide? Shivani? Yeah. Now, the last but not the least slide is that the main aim of story was actually for well-being and relaxation. Like the last slide after this will tell you that when children or adults are told stories, the hormones like oxytocin and dopamine are released, which give you a sense of motivation, give you a sense of being loved, gives you a sense of well-being and relaxation. Then, because when children start, next point is that when children start relating with stories, their willingness to communicate through feelings and thoughts increase. They relate that if, like, dejection, then self in fact, I'll tell you one thing, one small story again here, that there was a king whose children did not like studying. So the king was worried, and then he sent message throughout his country that whoever comes and educates my children, I will reward him. I will give him a big reward. And that is how Panchatattva came into being. Vishnu Sharmana was the great sage who came to the king's place, and he educated his sons by telling all different kind of stories, and he trained them to become the best countrymen of for the king. Okay, now here it is like, when we tell stories to children, there are how do we encourage active participation? As for teachers, you can tell them that, give them the most common story, like the um monkey and the cap seller. Okay, you give them the most common story and tell them that I do not want the traditional end which is you have read. We have to create a new tradition, a new end of the story. So what happens is, each child will come up with his own idea, and there you can inculcate the inculcate the value of active participation. Now when you start telling stories, especially this is for small children, when you start telling stories, they listen to you very carefully. When they listen to you carefully, they sit in one place for a long time, and that is how you develop their concentration. In fact, if there are teachers who are listening me, they will always have a grievance that the child or all the children, they do not like to sit in one place for more than 2 minutes. But telling them stories and making them engrossed in that story with your actions, with your adjectives, will increase their vocabulary, will increase their listening skill, and also will make them sit in one place. And that is the basic need for anyone to study. Then imagination, like I told you, creativity and imagination has no end when the children start listening to stories. Then cooperation, encourages cooperation, is like they, when they actively participate with each other, then the cooperation, team spirit also is enhanced. Children like considering new ideas. Now there are a lot of new ideas given to these children through stories. Last one, helps in applying ideas. Now there is one very important thing I want to say here. It is connected to the picture on this slide, is that we always say that the children should apply whatever is taught in the to the day-to-day life. But if you remember this Panchatantra story, these four Brahmin boys, they had learned how to put life back into the dead animal. So they all wanted to apply it and see. So only one of them was clever enough to say that you apply your knowledge, but I'm sitting on the top of the tree, because only he knew that if they apply their knowledge to the dead lion, the lion is going to get up and is going to have a feast on them. So he is the one. So children will also come to know that which knowledge they have to apply and which they don't have to apply. And the last is, yeah, you can go to the next slide. The last slide tells us that how you can, how the neuroscientists have also told us that brain reacts in different when they listen to stories, when they listen to stories in two different languages. Their brain starts processing it, and a story is the only way to activate parts of the brain so that the listeners turn the story into their own ideas and experience. Here I would just like to give one example. Maybe this is the last example. When we were young, there was a television show called as Star Trek on Doordarshan. So that time, in that Doordarshan Star Trek episode, we saw laptops, we saw mobiles, we saw internet, we saw people being transported from one planet to another planet. Now imagine the effect of that story, Star Trek story, on one of the scientists or many scientists who discovered current mobile, current internet, fiber cable, computers. All this had started in someone's brain due to the story he had seen on the Doordarshan Star Trek episode. So somewhere the story helps you to discover or to invent new gadgets. Last line is that, like I told you already, that dopamine increases in the story. When we listen to stories, chemicals like dopamine and oxytocins are released. Dopamine increases the motivation and attention, keeping listeners engaged and regulating their emotional response. Oxytocin promotes social empathy behavior, and these chemicals enable the listen to connect with narrative, so the information is more personally meaningful. So stories have a lot of effect on the children, and how you use it, it's a powerful, most powerful tool. And I hope all of you liked it, and sorry for that small interruption between. Shivani, I'm done with.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was really wonderful listening to you all your lively and wonderful examples that you have given throughout. And I
Thank
think
you.
both these topics on which you have spoken, the parenting and storytelling, can be very easily blended, and parents can definitely engage their children through storytelling when during this pandemic time they are at home. And of course, through storytelling, the parents can make their children learn a lot. Well, I think all the educators who are watching this will benefit. All the parents who will be watching this will be benefited. And I once again thank you, ma'am, for joining in and being a part of Getty's disruptive education movement. And I apologize for the disturbance that we had, maybe due to the network issues. Well, with this, we come to an end to today's session. We'll be meeting again very soon with another informative session. Until then, thank you and goodbye.
Thank you, dear. Thank you, Shivani. Bye bye.
Thank you so much, ma'am.